So yeah, I don't.
So this is completely nothing to do with anything, but I just looked over and I saw this on my desktop, and I got reminded of it. Um, the other week, like a week and a half ago, I told you that I'm playing through Yakuza 1 as well, right?
Yeah. You mentioned it a little bit after you're getting towards the end of Yakuza Kiwami, and then you were telling me you were playing one simultaneously.
Yeah. So I was playing it the other week, and I was in chapter 4, and I kind of have this really shitty game facts guide, which I think it was the same one I was using when we were doing the let's play on it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and my best guess is this dude was playing a Japanese import and then like also translating or something. I don't know, because some of the street names are different, but and the mission names are different too. The sub
That's
stories,
weird.
which it reads as I'm translating this and not an
Mm-hmm.
official translation.
Right.
And this person does not understand directional location, and it took me like the third time for me to really be like, okay, I should do this. So every time he has said like southeast, he means
Mm-hmm.
southwest, or if he says southwest, he means southeast. To the point to
I,
where the dude was like, this locker key is on the southwestern side of Senryo Avenue. And I'm looking at the map and I'm like, does he mean the street that goes off to the east from Senryo, where like, the taxi cab is in Zero? And I run over down there, and lo and fucking behold, it's on the street that juts out to the east of Senryo on the southern end of it.
is he playing some version of the game that's like upside down?
Yeah. It's like he's playing the Wii version of Yakuza.
I think there was like maybe not a Wii version, but oh yeah, there was like a Wii U version. But I know what you mean. It's the old Twilight Princess mirror world.
Yes, that was indeed the joke I was going for.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's not the point though. I'm using that guide, and if you know that 4 was the first one that was just like, hey, maybe having missable shit is a bad idea in our video game. Uh,
Yeah, well they did kind of go back to it though in Zero. They had missable stuff.
Not really. I mean, they had missable like achievements in the story,
Yeah. I
but in
guess that's
terms of
fair.
like content, nothing is missable, and I think that's been a thing since 4. Uh,
Yeah.
So I'm just wanting to get as close to 100% as I can. So I'm using the guide purely for sub stories and locker keys, and at
Mhm.
least the guide is for the locker keys is like 90% smart enough to be like, hey, I'm putting an asterisk on these keys. Like at the start of
Mhm.
the walkthrough with the chapters,
Yeah.
it'll have like these missions are available on this chapter. These locker keys are available on this chapter, and there'll be an asterisk if it's a locker key that's only available in this chapter at this specific point in time. Thankfully, it does that. However, looking at the locker key section of that walkthrough, you will see all 50 locker keys, 1 to 50.
Mhm.
A quick little like line. This is where it's located. There'll be an asterisk if it's missable. If you go through the guide, the walkthrough, the story walkthrough, and you're looking at
Mhm.
where it says locker keys available in this chapter, and you count it all up, you're gonna come up to 48, and you're gonna realize, hang on a minute, 47 and 49 are missing. Where the fuck is that? So you go down to the locker key section, and if you notice this in chapter 4 like I did, you're fine. But then you realize one of the locker keys that is not in the guide is missable because it's on Terada's ship. So he didn't
Oh.
put it in the guide. So I'm just like, this guide is so fucking messy and incomplete. It's frustrating me. So, but for all intents and purposes, for what I was doing, which was chapter 4, it was good enough. Like it had all the information I needed. There
Mhm.
are 4 missable locker keys in chapter 4. One of them is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, and I can't believe this is how you do it. You know when after you feed the dog and then Haruka passes out from fatigue and you have to carry her back to Serena?
Yeah.
When you're carrying her back, you start out just to the right of Millennium Tower. As you're going left down what street is it? Is it Taihei? That
Yeah.
that Millennium Tower's on. As you're going west down Taihei Boulevard, right as you're passing by Millennium Tower and the locker keys, there's this sedan on the road and a guy standing in front of the sedan. Now, one thing nice about the first Yakuza is anybody that you can talk to has a big green arrow above their head. So this dude's got a big green arrow. But like, if you're not really thinking, I want to talk to every single person I see, because most people are just like, oh, hey, there's some weird shit going on over here. Anyways, okay, bye. And it's just useless information. So if you just run by this person, you're just like, oh, it's just a guy, whatever. And you just go on your merry way. That dude gives you a locker key, and he's only there while you're carrying Haruka back to Serena.
Hey, I see you're carrying this little girl, but you also want to carry a key?
So it's so weird that that's a missable one, and it's such a specific moment of the game. And it's like you have to be going west down Taihei Boulevard, which is the logical path to Serena, because you go down Taihei and then take a left down onto Tenkaichi, and there you go. But, like, what if someone was like, no, I'm going to go down Pink Street, hit up Nakamichi Alley, go down Park Alley, and hit Serena that way? Too fucking bad. You missed it. It's a really weird thing to make missable. And then the other three missables, they're not technically missable here, and it's the three locker keys that are inside Millennium Tower before you go to the elevator to go up to Ares. But if you don't get them now, the only chance you can get them again is in the final chapter when you're heading up to go fight What's-His-Fuck and Nishiki for the final boss fights. And at that point, you're at the point of no return, so you can't open the locker key doors. So you can collect the locker keys, which is 1% to the completion for locker keys, but you can't open the locker key doors, which is another 1% toward the locker key completion. So the best you can do is 97% completion at that point.
That really sucks.
Yeah,
That's really bad game design.
and that's still not my point. I compiled an entire page. Incoming.
Okay. Oh, I see the typing.
Hang on. I have to do this a little differently. I compiled a notepad of all of it.
Wow. Yeah, it just came through.
10 years ago, this man, known as the Dragon of Dojima,
So you just this is your take on it, right?
Yeah, this is essentially me copy pasting, like basically going from chapter to chapter, looking at the chapter 4 walkthrough and having the list of lock keys in that chapter, typing that out, going to chapter 5, 6, 7, 10. Yes, I skipped 8 for a reason. 7, 10, 11, and 12, and typing in the locker keys, 47 being missing from 11, by the way, on the walkthrough, and then going down to the locker key section, copy-pasting the description on where they're at onto the notepad, and then just kind of cleaning it up, because I was doing this as I was about to go locker key hunting in chapter 4. So I was cleaning it up to where I could have the notepad on the left side of my screen and the emulator on the right side of my screen, so I could look at it and be like, okay, the next key's over here, grab that, move to the game, go do that, so I could read it at the same time. So I made it a lot more concise and like cleaned it up, and also changed some things, like took out the apostrophe in Tenkaichi, changed the name of some of the things, like, you know, just to make it more fit with the American version of the game. Then this purely for my benefit. This has no real world purpose on anything, but yeah, I don't even know if Togenkyo is, if that's how you spell it in the American version of the game in Chapter 11. But, like I said earlier, locker keys 47 and 49 were missing from the walkthrough guide, so I had to look. At first I had to figure out which ones were missing, because I was sitting here counting it out on on the paper here, and I'm like, I count 48 locker keys. There's 2 missing here. I got to figure out which 2 of those are. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, there's locker key 1. Okay, there's 2 and 3. Okay, there's locker key 4. Okay, there's locker key 5 and 6. Okay, there's locker key 7. Okay, there's locker key 8. And just like going up and down the file, just like figuring out. And then, and of course, it's 47 and 49 that are missing. So I'm getting to the end of it. So I look, and one of them's on the fucking ship, Terada's ship. And I'm like, well, that's fucking annoying. And of course, if you look at the guide in game, it's the first key listed is 4th floor, the second key listed is 2nd floor, and the third key listed is 1st floor. Because why the fuck would we put them in order? So
it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I looked at 49, and it's, by the way, this said alleyway. I'm pretty sure it said West Champion District. I don't remember exactly what it said. It could have said. No, this is more or less what it said. Alleyway near the south exit of Champion District. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, the alleyway that's guarded by the White Claw gang, or whatever the fuck they're called, when you're having to fight all of them and be like, who kidnapped Haruka? Where's she at? That alleyway doesn't open up until you do that, which is in Chapter 8. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to put that in the Chapter 8 locker key, because that's the first time you can go down in that alley, so it just makes sense to put it there. It's not missable, but it makes sense to put it there. So, I made this. It's mostly plagiarized, but I'm not about to publish it as my own work. It's purely for my own benefit, so whatever. But it's so much more neat and so much better explained than whatever the fuck is on GameFAQs, and I'm annoyed.
Yeah, you and a guy named Sarah Z came along. The state of Yakuza guides was very dire. But Sarah Z, he's the real MVP. He's done I think all of the RGG games. He has like really good in-depth guides. They do it with you know how the way that they used to be on GameFAQs, like they look like text files.
Yeah, that's
his are really nice. They have like HTML and all that kind of stuff. It's really good. And of course, there's your guide, the True Achievement Guide, right?
Yeah,
for 0,
which is purely an achievement guide, but
yeah, I'm actually credited in that one
yes, you are.
as the designer for the Cabaret Club 3 double circle. I don't know, outfits for the girls.